Haunted Hangover presents Haunted Hall.
Welcome to
Haunted Hall! Thank Jesus! Finally, we're here! Christ almighty!
welcome to the inaugural, I guess, in-person edition of Haunted Hall.
Oh, good grief.
I'm glad
Thank
Eric
you.
is here to witness this,
Yes.
so that it's not just me embellishing and what's
You could believe what he
happened.
did. Well, so here,
Yes.
now I'm here. I'm here for it.
A little behind-the-scenes, a little behind-the-scenes tidbit here.
Yeah.
Since this is the first time we're doing this, we've got the cameras rolling, we've got this recorder rolling.
There we go.
And we're figuring things out, so some technical difficulties beforehand.
Yeah,
few?
whole
A few?
first time here.
A few.
But it's only fitting, considering the film we're covering.
Oh my God.
So what you're trying to say is that the hot mess we just watched influenced the hot mess
that
we
we
just
just had.
were.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So
I
I
see.
can work with that. I can work
live,
with that.
I can live with that. That makes sense.
We put two
Salute.
and two together. Here we go.
Oh.
And there is another gentleman here. Obviously, I'm Louis. We didn't do our normal
our
introduction.
intros, yeah.
You know who the fuck we
So
are.
I'm Louis,
And I'm Annie.
joined by Manny, and our bud here, Eric.
Hey.
He was just here.
Eric.
I was just here.
Eric Brain Tumor Christensen.
There you go.
There we go.
That's his wrestling name. 'cause
That's
there
my
is-
wrestling name.
Yeah,
Because he brains you.
yeah. He's here. He's gonna join us because he watched the cinematic achievement.
Oh, this the thing of beauty. The thing of beauty.
No.
Oh my
No
goodness. Oh,
No beauty.
No beauty.
But yes, the film we're covering is
the great.
the great Haunted World of El Superbeasto.
Did you say something?
Featuring the voices of Tom Papa,
You like that?
Sherry Moon Zombie,
Listen up, man. You're crushing my...
Rosario Dawson,
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Paul Giamatti,
What's the big stinkeroo?
Brian Posehn.
You go, girl. You know what you're talking about.
Rob Zombie presents The Haunted World of El Superbeasto. When evil rises up, he stands erect.
Well, we warned you.
El Haunted World of El
No,
Super.
no, it's the Haunted World of El
Haunted World
Superbeasto.
of El Superbeasto.
El Superbeasto.
Superbeasto.
Nobody said it like that. No, not once
No,
in the
not
movie did they go
once in a film.
Superbeasto.
No.
There was no rolling
Actually,
R's.
I think Danny
There were
Trejo's
no R
character
rolls.
might
He
have.
can't help but roll his R. His tongue at all times.
But yes, it's inspired by the well, it was a series of it was a comic book series. This is
Right.
the graphic novel, not the individual issues. I don't know. I believe this was around the mid 2000s when this was released. The actual
yeah.
comic book.
Early
I didn't get to look at it. You
2000s.
guys
Early
peruse. I'm going to
2000s.
do this. You do the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read
Yes, Manny's just going to
I'm gonna read
read
the
the.
comic.
I had the original comics back in the day, although I did sell my comic book collection. I did have the original, a few issues.
the first run of the,
the first
original,
run,
yeah.
the first few run of the very interesting artwork style of El Superbeasto.
It's
Ass titties. Ass.
that sums
titties.
up.
Well,
We're done here.
That's-
That sums up the
That's it.
entire
There's the
film.
whole show. Have a nice
yeah.
Jesus
And-
Christ.
and-
There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 on 2 pages. 16 tits
Gonna have to
on
blur
2
that one out.
pages. Jesus.
But yes, but
The
yes,
18. I found 2 more.
there's lots of boobs in this movie.
Wow.
But yeah, so and we're gonna get to this to kind of just break it down while Manny's very excited and he's amused by the boobs.
It's just
in
like,
the
wow.
comic.
There's even, there we go.
He has the mentality of
Yes,
Of a
15-year-old
Rob Zombie,
of a Rob
15-year-old
Zombie
Rob
film.
Zombie.
I would have thought Manny wrote this just by his reaction to the comic book here. But yes, so the film is inspired by this graphic novel, these comics, and I remember when this came out, I had no expectations with it. It was a Rob. I kind
Very
of
low.
knew what to expect. It was a Rob Zombie animated film. I remember hearing about it because I believe it was around the time he had just finished the first Halloween that he directed.
I think you're correct.
It was in between his, I think, 2007.
He started it I think that he started it while they were editing Devil's Rejects, and then this got And then after Devil's Rejects was released, they worked on this, and it went forward. They kept working on it to the point where Halloween got in the middle and stopped the production on
Gotcha.
this.
That makes sense.
And then he finished this after Halloween.
Yeah, all I read it was a 3-year kind of window of
Right.
making this animated film.
Which happens.
Yeah, I think they started in
It's a lot of work.
2006 or 2007, and then finished it in 2008, something like that, and then it wasn't released for another year or so.
Yeah, I think I remember it, and this was a direct-to-video.
Yes.
This was Stars was involved.
Stars was involved. I believe it was on Netflix for a while.
Was it?
I believe I remember
We're just
having it
gonna
on
say it
Netflix.
was.
Yeah,
'Cause for a while, Netflix was actually good.
I want each of you, because I'd say maybe a year or two ago, Dave and I reviewed both of Rob Zombie's Halloween films for Patreon.
Right.
And I talked about my feelings towards Rob Zombie, and I'm a big White Zombie fan. I know you are too, Manny, and we're going to get to you in a second. And I've always enjoyed kind of White Zombie's music. Very short-lived run. And then I think his first album is good. What is it? The Sinister Urge is the second one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, and I feel his music kind of just after those first two albums, and now when it comes to his movies, just because I don't want to be redundant, because I did talk about my feelings towards him, I feel like his films have kind of dipped in quality as well. Like less production value, less budget. Look at the Munsters. I don't want to get into that right now, but yeah, it just feels like a cheap. It feels like a cheap movie.
It feels like it was shot in his garage.
Yeah. Now,
Well, some of House of a Thousand Corpses actually was.
there you go.
Well, there you go.
Now, Manny, we're gonna start with you.
Me.
Your feelings towards Rob Zombie, because you yourself, you said this. You're like a bootleg Rob Zombie at one point. I forget what episode you said that. You were like, people will look at me and say I'm a bootleg Rob Zombie.
I am a low rent Rob Zombie.
Low rent Rob Zombie. That's what you said.
Low-rent Rob Zombie.
That could be your look. That
it
could be
is.
your thing.
Dude, I do the hat thing. I used to have
Low rent.
Yeah, there you go.
low-rent
That
Rob
could
Zombie.
be your thing.
I am Rob Zombie without the paycheck. This is what he would look like if he was a total failure.
Oh my God.
He would have just a single wall of movies, not a room full of them.
Oh my God.
Rob Zombie without the success, basically,
yes,
right here.
yes.
But
Total
yes,
failure.
your love or maybe
I've been a
yes.
fan of Rob Zombie's music since 93, 94 or so. I've always been a fan of him. When House of a Thousand Corpses, when they were shooting it, I had the Fangorias and the pictures on literally on my bedroom wall. I was 18 when he was shooting it. And then it got dropped, and the whole drama with that. And then I actually went to the Sinister Urge tour where
I did too.
Yeah, where I think we were both at the same show.
We didn't know each other, though.
We didn't know each other. We
Yeah.
were both at the Hammerstein show.
2001, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick was at that show too.
Wow, look
Pat
at that.
Devaney, he was at that show. He was at the same Rammstein show, the same that happened around that same time. And on that tour, they premiered the House of a Thousand Corpses trailer because it had finally been picked
I remember
up.
that.
Yeah, and he played it with the song, the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was a huge fan of him, and I loved it. Which is funny because we didn't know each other when when he was on that tour. But we did go see House of a Thousand Corpses together.
Which was not that far
at
after.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
It was a year maybe later.
Yeah.
So in a short period of time.
Yeah, I think that was an October or November tour. We met in January or February. It's approximately.
I just remember it at Hammerstein Ballroom
Yeah,
here in
something
New
like
York.
that. Yes, it was Hammerstein, but it was that tour. They played that, and then we actually saw it together at Cross Bay 2.
Which no longer exists.
Doesn't exist anymore.
That's in Queens.
Yeah, and I remember really liking it when I saw it in the theater.
Yes.
And then I remember buying the DVD. Do I still have it? I think I still have it, actually. Yeah.
These are all Manny's movies behind us, so there you go.
I bought the DVD.
Still holding on to it.
Awesome packaging. The whole
That's
thing.
right. I had that.
Yeah,
I had that.
And I watched it when I got home, and I was like, "Holy fuck, this movie sucks! It's a 90-minute music video. This holy shit!" When I watched it, I feel like I was just so enamored with having waited for so long, to see it
for him to make a movie.
Yeah, and I watched it, and I'm like, this kind of sucks. It really kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Devil's Rejects, totally fixed that, and Devil's Rejects was
That's it. That was a different film.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely different film.
Yeah.
But long story short, you're a
Sorry.
fan of Rob Zombie.
I am.
Well, you know,
Yeah, I'll go quiet now. And we can give you
Eric,
the rest.
where do
So,
you stand with Mr. Robert Zombie?
That's what would you refer to as Rob? As on a level of 1 to 10, Manny is what kind of Rob Zombie fan? What would you say?
Like an 8.
All right.
He's a little higher than me, I think.
I thought I was a passionate Rob Zombie fan.
Yeah.
I thought I was everything. Obviously, I'm not as heavy into his
No.
his work, but I do like him a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. When I feel
I feel like he had the career I always wanted. That's what it is.
Sorry,
but
Manny.
not even bullshitting though. Not even like joking. Like for real. Like I always I started doing music. I always
Right.
wanted to do music, and then I got into horror movies. And I look at him like that's literally he has the career trajectory that I had always kind of dreamed of.
Yeah.
And so to me, I was like him, and now the fact that he makes movies with his wife. Like to me, I'm like this guy's kind of an idol to me. Like not in that like oh my god worship the fuck out of him, but just like.
He represents what
he
like you
represents
like
a
what
lot to me.
what you what you
Yes.
do, yeah.
I understand that, and like that being said, you know, I understand his passion for him, both you know, in the artistic sense. It's the same passion I have for Picasso. I went to the Picasso Museum when I was in France, and I admire. I mean, with that I can't even do that art style. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, first off, I can't do anything right now because my arm is dead. But still,
Wow.
well, you know, but still, in my day, I can't even. I mean, and he did more than just draw and paint. But still, I admire, you know, his passion for his art style, and I thought I love his music. I mean, I can just sit there with my eyes closed, and I go to a different realm while listening to his music. When I enjoy music, I want it to take me to different places, you know, visually in my mind. And Rob Zombie's does his, you know, when he.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with me has always been like just in general, it's just like I feel like he's become a little dated.
Well, I mean,
Like
when
now,
I first started
like,
listening
yeah.
to him, to
Yeah.
him, that's why Zombie, you know, more human than human.
Oh, that was the cool shit.
Yeah, that was right. That's right. So when I first started listening to him, but you know, and like I said, when he went on his own, you know, what was it? The first album,
98, I think, right?
yeah,
Hillbilly
and that was
Deluxe.
Hillbilly Deluxe,
Yeah.
and that was okay. That was cool. All right.
Yeah.
Again, still it sounded a lot
good
like
album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounded a lot like White Zombie. All right,
Yeah.
and then you know because why? Because White Zombie
slowly
is
went off, but
yeah.
No.
All right. And
slowly
then
changed. And
yeah, and then we're you know changing into. I mean, and then a few albums later, we got Foxy,
that
Yeah,
was yeah.
and
that,
that's
I think
different
that was
style.
the next one. That was Sinister Urge, wasn't it?
Was it from
No. That wasn't. That was Educated Horses.
Horses?
Educated Horses.
That was the album
Yeah.
with the Foxy, and I'm like, okay,
I
that was
like
the
that
first
one,
single. It was a different sound form.
Yeah.
Sound form, completely different
Yeah.
than more human than human Foxy. It's like different
It's
spectrum.
very
completely.
different
But then he went to
styles.
Hellbilly Deluxe 2, which is honest. That's my favorite album of his. That's my favorite of his. I always loved Hellbilly Deluxe, but when 2 came out, at the time I liked the evolution of that Hellbilly style, the Hellbilly Deluxe
okay.
style. This felt like he updated that sound to the 2010-ish
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
You know,
Right.
It's tough. Like I said, I just think Rob Zombie he's like Ozzy Osbourne. He just exists. Like what he represents is cool. The whole horror thing, just being a big horror fan and loving all that stuff and Halloween and everything. It makes sense to. I think no one can hate Rob Zombie if you like this.
If
type
you
of
like
shit.
Rob Zombie, that's why I see
Yeah.
all of his films. It's like I see all of his
He's
films.
a brand.
It's
He's
like
just-
he is
it's
a
like
brand.
why
Yeah.
did I see the Devil's Rejects, which was I enjoyed over the first part. I saw it and then I saw it. I actually watched it. I'm like, this is a great film.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's a great film. And then we moved on to Halloween, which was it was a slow. It was a more broad.
Yeah.
I mean, the first half was more interesting than the second half, which was a complete remake of the first movie.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. It really just was in my
Well,
eyes.
I mean, Evil
No.
Dead did that. Return of the
They
Living
all
Dead did
do
that.
They all
You know?
do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they all
At
do
some
that.
point, they realized, well, we fucked up the first one. Let's retcon the whole thing in the first half hour.
But the thing I'll say with Rob Zombie to me, and the thing I respect about his career, I respect him because he's fucking successful. The
Well,
guy's-
that's it.
He's not hurting. Is he always kind of tried to change every movie he makes, and this is where the one thing
to do something a little
I
different.
could think some of the shit he does is corny and a little dated now. Some of the stuff I will admit it is, but I will respect that he tried different things.
Yep.
He had the like exploitation film. He had the animated film, which we'll get right back to in a minute or two.
Right.
He
At some
tried
point.
the slow kind of Italian not giallo, but more like atmospheric, like Ken Russell type movie, and then did the like PG Monsters movie. So like the dude always evolved and tried new things, which is to me as like a filmmaker as well, and you know we're both filmmakers. That's what I respect. He has done different shit, and you can still see his stamp on it. Like that's a Rob Zombie movie, even if I think it sucks. But I know there's people that will love anything he touches.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but I didn't see no sign saying dumbass ape wanted.
How charming. Alrighty, here we go. Keep it simple. No fancy stuff needed. After all, she's only a stripper. You're a world-famous man of action.
Back to the Haunted World of El Superbeasto.
This movie you forced us to watch.
I forced you guys to watch because we've been covering animated films this month. So I thought, well, animated things in general, and I thought it'd be only right to cover an animated film. And again, Rob Zombie, it kind of works, and there aren't many horror-themed animated films that came to mind.
There are weird-themed, adult-themed,
but not
animated.
horror. You know, like horror where there's horror characters and there's a lot of references. There aren't
meaning
many.
to watch that Mad God thing on Shudder.
I haven't seen
but
that
I don't
yet.
think it would have been as entertaining of a conversation.
No, it wouldn't have happened.
We went with this.
Yeah.
The other one would have.
Evil, don't, yeah, well,
would have. We'll do that eventually.
We're gonna get to that one
They'll
eventually.
forget about it by the time we
Yes.
get to that.
But yes, let's go back
That's
to
foreshadowing.
the haunt. Yeah, we're giving away future episodes. But yeah, the Haunted World of El Superbeasto. Now, this film has, and you teased it earlier, a very stacked cast, and there's a lot of actors that aren't necessarily voice actors.
No, they're big-time actors.
Yeah.
They're screen actors.
Pretty big time. But before we jump into that, let's focus on some kind of just small details here in the film. This film was released on September 22nd, 2009. So
In theaters?
no, direct to video.
Direct to video. I was like, I'm like, are you sure it was in theaters?
No.
I was.
And I'm gonna get it out of the way since this is Haunted Hall. We watched this, I believe, 2009 Blu-ray. It's my copy, and this is a very bare bones. There's not much on it.
But what are you talking about? It's the ultimate high definition experience. It says it right there.
Yes, but
Ultimate
experience.
It says it right
It's
there.
ultimate. Oh my God.
Sorry, it is the ultimate.
You, sir.
Sir.
You have no faith in the advertising.
Real quick, the special features on this one. Just to get, we usually do this at the end of the show for the sake of this episode.
But these are so. Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
Actually, it
There
actually
isn't
says
much.
there's deleted scenes. We didn't watch the deleted scenes.
We did not. Why? I don't think we're missing much. If
I
I'm
don't
being
know.
honest.
Alternate scenes too.
So no commentary
Deleted scenes and shots.
and shots.
Shots.
And that's it. That's all that's on this this Blu-ray. I should
No,
say.
there's one more. The Superbeasto full-length animatic. Is that the movie itself?
Probably.
I don't know. Full-length animatic.
have
I don't
no
know what
idea.
an animatic
What is that? Like without the animation, like the just bare
no
bones?
idea.
I'm guessing that's what that is.
I don't know.
I have no.
We
None of
didn't
us
watch
here,
it, so
we kind of
Fuck
already.
if I know.
we're gonna have to wait till next year to watch it again. We're gonna have to wait till the next time he has.
I don't know if I want to.
I don't want to put myself through this.
I don't know if
again.
I want to torture myself with that again. So let's break down the premise of the Haunted World of El Superbeasto.
Yeah, breaking down the premise.
There's not much to this story. So the film, in a nutshell, is about. He's a superhero. Is kind of the vibe you get of El Superbeasto. He's a luchador.
Luchadores.
That's right. That's what he is.
A very muscular luchador.
Lucha.
And him and his sister. And you do get a backstory in this film. He was adopted, or like someone left him at the doorstep of this random family. It's not important.
Look what I opened randomly to. Look what I opened to randomly.
Yes. It's very vulgar.
Holy crap! Yeah,
Very
this is totally
vulgar.
get you kicked off YouTube. Us and Steven Crowder.
So you've got El Superbeasto and his sister Susie X, voiced by Sherry Moon Zombie. And in this film, basically, they live in this world that is just full of horror characters.
Yeah.
Monster World.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's called. I think it's
Monster
called
World?
Monster World.
Yeah.
basically every corner they turn.
No, it's the haunted world.
The haunted
Yeah,
world.
no, but I think like the world itself is called Monster World or Monster Land.
well.
or
Don't
something.
quote us on that because this film
Yeah,
is all
yeah,
over the place. But
yeah.
yes,
Yeah, it could be
El
Monster
Superbeasto.
City.
Yes, it could be. El Superbeasto is a superhero / luchador / porn star.
Oh, that's right.
Because the film opens up with him basically filming a scene, being a stereotypical Italian,
Interviewing
women for his porno.
Right.
Which is an Italian restaurant pizzeria deal where he bangs them all.
The spicy meatball.
The spicy meatball.
Ball.
Very stereotypical
Oh my
Italian.
God.
And he's banging these women. He's got a sister, Susie X, like I said, voiced by Sherry Moon Zombie. And in a nutshell, the main kind of antagonist of this film is Dr. Satan, voiced by Paul Giamatti. And you kind of get the so El Superbeasto's kind of sex crazed, loves women. They hang out at this club that's full of monsters and hot girls, lots of nudity, lots of boobs, lots of booty. You get a lot of that here.
Well, the club looks like From Dusk Till Dawn Club,
Yes.
which is sort of, it's one of the quote unquote horror characters.
The movie has a lot of references. Yeah.
So
it's-
I have
it's
a list
exactly-
which
yes, he
which
did-
we'll get to later,
Yes.
and we'll run down the list of every character and kind of Easter egg and cameo
that you were
get in this.
physically able to type. There's
Yes.
probably a lot more.
I'm sure I missed a bunch.
Yeah.
But basically, El Superbeasto, Susie X. Susie X has this robot that looks like the Phantom Creep robot, voiced by Brian Posehn. And I have a list here of all the actors basically in the film. We'll run down that too. But what ends up happening is you've got Dr. Satan. You find out that this guy, I did not write down his name here, went to high school. Dr. Satan went to high school
Weinstein,
with
not
Weinstein.
Weinstein, not
Mike,
Not Weinstein.
Wachowski.
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 Steve Wachowski.
Yeah, that's
I think it's
Steve
Steve Wachowski
Wachowski.
or Mike Wachowski. No, Mike Wachowski's from Monsters
That's
Inc.
Monster.
Mike
Steve
Wazowski.
Mike
Steve
Wazowski.
Yes.
Yes.
And they went to high school with him, and they picked on him. He was a nerd, and they bullied him. So El Superbeasto technically is a piece of shit. Everyone's a piece of shit in this movie.
Wait a minute. Were you not aware that El Superbeasto was a piece of shit?
No,
It's a Rob
he's-
Zombie movie.
everyone's a piece of shit.
Everybody's like it's
So-
pretty standard.
Yeah.
Everyone's a
So what ends up happening is there's this burlesque stripper girl that they both have their fucking eyes set on. I think it's Von Black. It's
it's,
Velvet Von Black.
Velvet Von
Velvet
Black.
Black.
Thank you. And they both
I don't know why I remember.
Of all the things.
Velvet Von Black.
Velvet Von
Played
Black.
by Rosario Dawson.
Yes, Rosario Dawson's the voice of Velvet Von Black. So what ends up happening is El Superbeasto thinks she's hot, wants to bang her.
Well,
she
if
was
Rosario Dawson
Yes.
is voicing
She's
her.
hot.
Yes. And Dr. Satan sees her and
also
wants
hot.
to marry her because she
They're both
is
hot.
she has 666.
She has the Omen 666
Right.
symbol on her ass.
Yes.
So that
And-
makes she must be
And
the
Dr.
Antichrist.
Satan,
Yes.
surprise, surprise.
Steve
Yes.
Wachowski.
Yes. So he wants to make Von Black, Velvet Von Black, his bride.
Ooh,
And-
it's always something.
And El Superbeasto wants to bang her. So we can't have that. So basically, Dr. Satan has his gorilla. I didn't catch the gorilla's name.
I know. I didn't. I missed
Yes.
that too. I missed the
It was
gorilla.
something weird.
The gorilla, he basically he has the gorilla kidnap her,
Right.
bring him back to his underground lair.
Because every bad guy has a lair.
Exactly. And he's gonna marry her and basically cause the end of the world. That's essentially
Yes,
the
yes,
end of the world.
yes.
And El Superbeasto can't let that happen. Susie X, his sister, can't let that happen. Her random robot with a heart on that's in love with her can't let that happen.
Phantom Stranger is getting something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long story short, there's lots of sex jokes, lots of fart jokes, lots of boobs, lots of ass, lots of vaginas, lots of everything.
Lots of juvenile humor, actually.
Yes. This film would not be made today.
No,
not a
with-
PC
well, First
film.
off, it's not PC.
Yes.
At all.
It's as far from some of the stuff, it's a little insensitive, but whatever. It is what it is. It was 2009, a very different time. They defeat Dr. Satan. Velvet Von Black's a piece of shit the entire movie. And you're like, why do these guys love her so much? they just are looking at her because she's hot. She's like a
Well,
piece
yeah,
of
she ends
ass,
up with the
basically.
monkey.
Yeah, which
Oh,
is
I'm sorry, the gorilla.
the gorillas. Yes, correct yourself,
Sorry,
Eric.
I'm sorry.
Get it right.
Get
Yes.
it right.
Get it right.
Get it right. It's a gorilla.
And yes, in a nutshell, there's a lot of moving parts to this movie because you've got like Susie X fighting Nazis several times throughout the
Outpost
entire.
looking zombies.
Yes,
Zombie Nazis.
Zombie Nazis.
zombie Nazis.
Nazi
Sorry,
zombies. Nazi
Nazi zombies.
They look like they came right out of Outpost.
Yes,
Is it
and
Outpost? I keep saying Outpost. Is it Outpost?
Dead Snow is what I kept
No,
thinking
no,
of.
the old '80s movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
yeah.
about.
I remember the
No,
newest
Zombie
being Dead
Lake.
Snow.
It's up there. It's up there. See, the Zombie Lake
Yes,
is up there.
Zombie Lake.
Outpost is the newer one.
I haven't seen it, so.
Yeah, it's a newer movie. No, Zombie Lake is what I'm thinking.
But yes, they defeat Dr. Satan,
yeah.
and basically, in a nutshell, they save the world, and El Superbeasto does nothing. He does nothing.
No, he does nothing.
Susie
Well,
X
he
kind of
beats
does
up
everything.
people.
Yeah, but he doesn't really do.
He does
it's
beat
like,
people up.
Yeah.
Well, Susie X is really the one that it's like one of those situations like what's it called? Not what's a pine? Big Trouble in Little China, where he doesn't really.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's the aloof hero.
Yeah.
He doesn't really
Indiana
do
Jones
anything.
thing.
Yeah.
He's useless. He's actually
Yeah,
useless.
well,
Yeah.
that's it. Jack Burton, useless.
Burton, yes.
Ash Williams doesn't really do anything except beat up the dead.
Just
Everyone-
survives through it, and that's
Yeah.
it.
The sidekick does more, and
Yeah.
in this case, it's Sherry Moon's Susie X that
Yeah.
does all the like shooting and killing, and he's just like he gets all the credit for it, and he gets the girl, and
Yeah.
and that's basically in a nutshell the haunted world of El Superbeasto.
That's it.
Boiled down to brass tacks, that's it.
That's basically
exactly.
it. Now, the movie itself, and I think this is the thing that stands out to it, to me at least, is as a horror fan, every 5 seconds you're kind of like, oh, look, there's this character.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
Lot of
there's that
references.
character.
A lot of referential
A
material.
lot of references to Rob Zombie's own movie.
Well, I mean,
movies.
who wouldn't? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that's
You would.
makes
sense.
If
You
you're a
would.
Rob Zombie fan, you're seeing this film, obviously.
Hey, squirrel, do I look like I want to talk to you?
I ain't here to talk. I'm here for the All-American Ass Party.
How about you make yourself useful and go get me some beer nuts?
Oh, mama, I got your nuts right here.
I
and
made
you're
up-
Rob
yeah.
Zombie, who is a fan of Rob Zombie.
This is a movie
Yeah.
probably. Honestly, I'd say this film is probably perfect for like a super Rob Zombie fan. If you're like a zombie head,
Yeah, I mean,
So what you're saying is now 5 movies later, he needs to make a Super Beasto 2.
I hope not.
I don't think they ever would. This fucking thing started
right.
with a budget of $500, about $500,000.
Gotcha.
And it ballooned to $10 million.
Wow.
This was
What?
no bullshit. This is a $10 million cartoon because of the time and the people and everything they kept. This is a $10 million cartoon.
Wow.
And you wonder why nobody put it out, like, because you spent all our fucking money. It went from $500,000.
No
to
wonder
$10
his movies are
million.
getting cheaper looking at
Yes.
by the
that was
year.
That was initially they started at $500,000.
That's
And
crazy.
he's well known for going over his budget. That's what happened with Lords of Salem. That's what happened with Devil's Rejects. He's known for just continually shooting and shooting and shooting, and he goes way over budget.
Yeah, that's
and
kinda
apparently
ridiculous.
Lords of Salem. There's a bunch of stuff that they never finished
Oh,
because
really?
he was over budget. He couldn't afford any more Udo Kier and 2 or 3 other actors. He couldn't afford them for more days. So the studio, and Blumhouse is very. Was it Blumhouse? Right?
Yeah, it was Blumhouse.
Blumhouse is very like, look, you get this budget and that's it. I'm not giving you any
Well,
more.
they gave
He
him
cuts him off.
if they gave him $10 million for this, they're fucking crazy.
And I think that's why he's had so
Yeah.
much problems getting more money because
Okay.
he literally fucking, what is this, 10 times the budget.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he fucking went
well-
way over.
Crazy that cost this
Yeah,
much. That's
I know.
wild.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look it.
No, not at all. I mean,
No.
it's a cartoon.
10
What do you mean it's a
million?
cartoon?
I mean, cartoons can be expensive.
Yes, but the point is, like, it's a cartoon. Where did you spend all this money?
Paying everybody.
Where
well,
did-
three-
yeah.
Well, it's got a cast in it. You
Yeah.
have to pay the people.
It does.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into the cast in a second. I want to shine some
Yeah, but-
shine
Yeah,
some light on everybody.
that's- yeah.
So let's bounce through some of the
Sorry, I didn't
references.
mean to,
No
but,
worries.
like, wow.
That was a great tidbit. I did not know it cost $10
No,
million.
that's an insane
10
tidbit.
million.
I mean, that's an insane.
Even $500,000's like, really? This costs $500,000? But yeah, so here are some of the references I was able to catch throughout the film, and I think that's probably to me, that's one of my favorite things about the movie is all the references.
Yes.
So one of the first big ones right away, like first 10, 15 minutes of this movie when he's heading to the club that he hangs out at. He runs over Michael Myers, but it's the Rob Zombie version of Michael Myers.
Right.
So that's kind of funny.
But even before that, the whole opening is Frankenstein.
Yeah, the
the
whole
entire opening.
Yeah.
The whole like first 3
The
minutes
music.
is literally Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and even the opening on the stage with the narrator and all that is very.
Yes, it's very,
You know?
Universal Pictures.
Well, I think that's kind of that's always been Rob Zombie's thing, so it makes sense to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have parodied that. That's the Simpsons has even done it on
sets the
Treehouse of
stage
Horror.
for what you're about to watch.
Of
That
course.
it
Yeah.
is that this is what you're going to get from this. So if you're not enjoying the first couple of minutes, just stop.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
stop.
just if you're not enjoying that intro song, if you don't get it, because
Well, there's a lot of. We're gonna get to the music in a
yeah,
second.
we'll get to that.
But yeah, so Michael Myers pops up, right? And then you've got Jack from The Shining. Then you've got Leatherface, Bride of Frankenstein, The Fly, Jekyll and Hyde. They had like a Peter Lorre type character. Then you've got the Xenomorph, Count Orlok, Edward Scissorhands, which was kind of random.
These are all
It
people
was-
in and around the bar.
Yeah,
just
They wanna
stand in
get- some of
line,
them wanna
waiting to
get
get
into
in.
the club. Yeah.
Yeah, King Kong is in there.
The club itself is, like you said earlier,
Very
from Dusk Till Dawn.
Dawn.
Club. It had
Yeah.
Aztec.
Aztec,
That's what it
background.
at least that's what it looked like. Maybe that wasn't his intent. Do you think so?
In the bigger,
Yeah.
like in the wide shot of it,
Yeah, yeah.
you could actually see the Aztec
Right.
pyramids on the
Yeah,
side
yeah.
and everything.
And then kind of one of the bigger ones, again, referencing his own movies, you've got Otis, Captain Spaulding
Right.
popping up, and it's Bill Moseley and Sid Haig voicing them. So obviously he put his own characters in there.
Ken Foray's character was in the background at one point, like from his character.
Oh,
his,
was
the
he?
brother character.
Oh, I didn't even
He
recognize.
was in the
notice.
background, but he wasn't playing it because he plays a different
He
character.
plays the cat, which
Yeah.
we'll run down the cast too. Then you've got, I believe it's Varla from Faster Pussycat, voiced by
what it
Tura,
looked- that's what it
Tura
looked like.
Santana. It's
what it looked like to me.
actually, it's her voicing the same character from Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill. Phantom of the Opera, Dr. Phibes, like, Vincent Price from Dr.
yeah, yeah,
Phibes.
On the harpsichord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, there's like, I'm sure that's only maybe 50% of the characters that pop up in this movie, which is cool. It's cool to see like a world where all these characters kind of live and breathe and they're interacting with the stupid El Superbeasto and
Right.
Susie X and all that. So,
The stupid.
but whatever. Like I get that. Now,
Yeah.
it's funny because when you go through the actual cast now, and you like, look, this is a fucking monster cast. So yeah, Sherry Moon, obviously, Paul Giamatti's Dr. Satan. You've got Rosario Dawson. We mentioned her. Brian Posehn, Dee Wallace. I didn't even recognize her.
I saw her in the credits. I don't remember what the name of the character was.
Trixie, according to this.
Yeah, no, well, correct myself. I don't know who Trixie was in the movie.
Neither do
Right,
I.
I don't remember who it
You
was.
said Ken Foray, Jeffrey Lewis, which is probably my favorite kind of running gag because he's like the elevator hop
Yeah.
or whatever you'd call that.
Yeah.
And he's just like this old guy who like tries small talk basically.
It's basically the most clever concept in the film. The repetitive up and down in the elevator with the small talk.
It's like the awkward
It's
small
exactly
talk.
it's the awkward small talk. Would you?
It's
so
great.
It's so we're headed up to 12.
Like that weather today, it's
Yeah,
really bad. And he talks about like a baseball game. It's
Exactly.
like the most.
So, how
it's like
about
what you
the-
experience in like an office. Like
So how about that game last night?
it's probably the only thing that gave me made me laugh. Like I actually enjoyed that little like that little gag because it comes back several times.
Oh yeah.
Even in the credits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the
Ran it
post
through the
credit
end
scene.
credits, yeah.
Even Rob Zombie knew that was the
Oh,
funniest
he was
shit.
the credit scene, not even
Yeah.
post.
Oh, yeah,
he
no,
was the
it was
credits.
the credits, yeah.
Credits ran over him. It was
Oh
great.
yeah.
But yeah, Clint Howard, Cassandra Peterson, Elvira. She was
Again,
the
another
yeah.
one I didn't recognize what character.
Yeah, no, that's I
Danny
missed it
Trejo.
completely.
There's again, Bill Moseley, obviously.
Danny
Turson.
Trejo playing Danny Trejo, essentially.
Yeah,
He was-
Adolf.
A miniature Danny Trejo.
Yes. Funny enough, Adolf Hitler as himself archival recording. So that was actually Adolf Hitler's voice
Wow.
as the head of Adolf
Interesting.
Hitler.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, all right, Rob Zombie. Okay, whatever
right.
works.
I need your help with a little problem. I mean, it's barely even that, really. Let's call it a situation.
Beasto Man, don't waste my time. Is this about pussy?
No.
Poontang?
Nada.
Toolshed?
9.
Cockpit?
Nope.
The fuck?
Negative.
Fur patch?
Nope.
Bearded clam? Nipsey Russell? Fish patty? Panty hamster? Vertical bacon sandwich?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll help.
It was funny because the joke with Rob Zombie is sort of like he should have someone else. If someone else wrote Rob Zombie's scripts, we even said it while we were watching it. We were like, this doesn't feel like this is too witty at times for Rob Zombie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the elevator scenes in particular.
He would never. I feel like
I don't
he
think
would
he
never
would be able to write that.
Like watch his Monsters movie. You've seen it.
Yes.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
This was funnier.
It tries to be funny, but it doesn't succeed.
This was funnier.
This
than
was yeah. I mean, definitely.
Comparing them, yeah.
It's what's funnier. No, I would prefer to watch a different film altogether.
yes. So would I.
I'd rather just not watch this.
I prefer Will Ferrell film, and I'm not a Will Ferrell fan.
There you go.
I fucking hate Will Ferrell.
Well, I'm right there with you.
Fuck him.
And Manny noticed. So when we were kind of looking at the behind the scenes aspects of this film, it was funny because in the opening credits it says written by Rob Zombie and Tom Papa, who voiced El Superbeasto.
Right.
And you looked it up on IMDb. There were like additional writers,
eight other writers,
and that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. That's why it was a mess.
Yeah,
I think a good portion of them were animators as well. So they were kind of, while animating, they were writing. Like that's why they're considered writers, and they changed. But one of the main writers on this, one of the main animators / writers is, I think his name is Mr. Thompson. That's how he credits himself.
Okay,
Mr. Thompson. He also does. And this is going to be no surprise because we said this many times. He also did Ren and Stimpy.
It's very Ren and Stimpy.
It is very Ren and
SpongeBob
Stimpy.
SquarePants.
Right.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
He did SpongeBob and he did Ren and Stimpy amongst a lot of other Adult Swim and Nickelodeon cartoons.
That makes sense.
He's one of the credited writers and animators as well. So I'm thinking that he had a lot to do with the development. I also think that just because of the fact that it was in production for so long and it started and it stopped and started and it stopped, I think that there was a lot of rewriting done based on, because if you look, there's a ton of animators too. There's like 50 or so, and
wow.
I think
not unusual.
Excuse me, I think it's actually 38 animators.
Yeah, that's not unusual for an animated
No,
film.
it's not. But that could be where the money went. That they kept getting new animators, and they had like one or two people like that Mr. Thompson guy and one or two others who were steady through the whole thing. So those guys kind of got paid for years to just keep working on this. And as new animators may have come in, again, I'm totally just
assuming.
I'm thinking that it's quite possible he couldn't get some of the animators from the first ones back. So when they came back to it a year later, he had to get different animators, and this guy had to make sure they were doing the same style. And
makes sense. They have to. I mean, they have to move on to other jobs.
Yes, and that could also be why there's so many voices in it, because you had to because you see a lot of in mostly animated things, you get people who do 4, 5, 6 voices each.
Right.
You get like 5 actors kind of do everything. And here you just went to a whole list of guest stars in this.
Yeah.
And they all do like one voice, minus like 2 or 3 people who do like 5 voices each.
Right.
Yeah, and they're not consistent too, because most of the movie is Tom Papa as El Superbeasto, and then Sherry Moon as Susie X.
Who is going to work with you every day? His wife and
yeah. And if you think about it, this was probably like a passion project of Rob Zombie and Tom Papa. I'm probably butchering his name.
I think Tom Papa did a lot of the writing too, because I know that he wrote a lot of his own personal comedy into this. Like he's a stand-up comic as well.
But a look of the characters is a lot of Rob Zombie's artwork.
Yes.
No, for sure.
Sort of.
Well, the robot is definitely his.
Well, but it doesn't look like his robot. When you look
it's
at
like a cuter version of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
when you look at
it looks like the animation of.
Yes, they're his designs for sure.
Right.
But they're not his final designs on screen.
Right.
Well, if you look at this, it looks very different, the animation in this.
Well, that's comic book artwork.
Yeah, it looks completely different.
This is, I don't think he drew this either. This
is completely
his
different.
artwork is very, he has a very specific, I always called it scratch art, because he kind of, it looks like he's scratching it onto the page rather than drawing it.
Right.
That's very much how a lot of his art looks like.
It looks like somebody doing the artwork in their marble notebook.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and this is very SpongeBob and Ren and Stimpy.
It's funny. I didn't even think about SpongeBob. I thought more Ren and Stimpy when we were watching it than SpongeBob.
I was
now
thinking,
you're like SpongeBob.
I was thinking,
SpongeBob,
Fritz the cat and
Fritz the cat came to mind.
Right, and Betty Boop with the curvy girls.
Yeah.
All right, because those were back in the day, and that was more inspiration for the modern day cartoon, which the SpongeBob, the Ren and Stimpy, and what else?
There's a
I'm sure
kind
there's
of
a
Looney
bunch.
Tunes a little bit.
I mean,
yeah.
you think back when the Mickey, Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Steamboat Mickey with what's it called? Steamboat Willie.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name though.
Yeah, Steamboat Willie, which is the first animation with Mickey Mouse, which will be available for anybody to take care of, do their own version of.
In case you want to make your own movie, he's telling you no.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'm
Eric.
letting you know. I'm letting you
Get
know.
on that, buddy.
Future episodes, if you're interested in
Gotcha.
covering. Okay.
You won't
Winnie
get
the
a
Pooh.
YouTube strike anymore for covering Mickey.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is brief for covering Winnie the Pooh. Okay.
Well, that's crazy. I can't believe they lost the rights to those characters. That's
No,
insane.
they when you reach a certain age.
Yeah, they're 100 years old or whatever,
Right.
right? Yeah, so it's
You
kind
can
of
do
tough.
it.
Well, the Disney Winnie the Pooh, Disney still owns their Winnie the Pooh. It's the original Winnie the Pooh novel. book.
Gotcha.
Disney's Winnie the Pooh, they still own that.
Right.
So you can't put a red shirt on him or something like that. There's a specific design that
It's the
they
same
have.
thing with the Mickey.
They still own that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It's the original
Steamboat
Winnie book.
Willie,
Crazy.
The Steamboat Willie version of Mickey, which is going to be up for grabs.
Anybody can
Right.
do
Which
whatever
is
they
very
want.
modern
flat,
day
the two
Mickey.
ears that just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Right, the modern day Mickey, which
Yeah.
is you see down in Disney World,
Is
is owned by
still there.
Disney.
Yeah.
Big-
And I tell you one thing that will never become public domain.
Oh, you're not going to have to worry about this.
No
I mean,
one's
at some
gonna.
point it will, but
No
it's
one's gonna want to.
No,
It's going to end
no.
up in
All
public
right.
domain because nobody wants it.
But the Lucha
I'm surprised
Libre
you don't just throw it in on
concept.
public domain right now and be like, here, do whatever you want with it.
But the Lucha Libre concept.
I do want to kind of read this. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting book.
It's piqued your interest, huh?
it does. Like, this looks more interesting than the
So
movie.
I want to ask you guys this now. So again, for me, one of the things I really liked about this was all the horror references. I think it's perfect for that. I think it did a good job kind of capturing a world.
A dirty world.
A dirty, well, obviously dirty, but
Very
in
dirty.
general, just you reference Cool World, like, and whenever when Brad Pitt's in
Yeah,
the
and
animated
Brad Pitt,
world,
yeah.
it's so distinct, and you felt it
Yeah.
in this. It was very distinct. It did feel like Ren and Stimpy at times, or SpongeBob, which I didn't think about, or
Yeah,
but,
Ralph Bakshi's work in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was
American Pop.
Yes.
All right.
It kind of had that vibe, and that's what I like about it. It was like a horror version of that.
Right.
I even thought of like what's it called? Heavy metal. A little bit.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's another good one.
So like it kind of was able to capture that, and that's what I felt watching it. Now, is it funny? I chuckled a couple times.
I did.
But I think it's kind of fucking immature. But what I wanted to ask you guys, and we'll take turns. We'll start with you, Eric, then Manny. We'll do it the other way around now. If there's something you liked about this movie, because obviously the three of us, none of us were huge fans of El Superbeasto. But if there's something you enjoyed,
I'm going to confess something. I'm on camera now. I'm high.
Enjoy this.
It's legal here. It's legal here. It's
yeah,
fine.
I have a medical. I've got
Yeah,
a
yeah,
license. I have a license.
Yeah.
You don't need a license. It's legal here.
I know, but still, I have a license.
Yes, yes.
I get
You are
but
legal.
I'm truly legal.
Double legal.
So I smoked sativa before, and sativa is sort of one of those uplifting blends. I didn't laugh as hard as I usually would. I was pretty calm at the funny part, so I just got to chuckle.
It killed his
it's
eye.
not laugh out loud.
said it,
It's
you killed his
definitely
eye.
not laugh out loud.
It's like we kept saying it while we were watching it. It's like 15-year-old, 12-year-old
It's
humor.
12-year-old humor. I mean, 13-year-old humor. It's that humor. It's where it's like the kids that are able to draw in the back of the books where they draw penises and boobs, like in the Mad magazines and stuff like that. And you remember Mad magazine?
Of course, yeah.
of course. And so it's like Mad magazine artwork, and the kids in the back of the book, and look, it's a boob.
Yeah.
And
That's basically what it was.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. And it's sort of juvenile, but at the same time, it has its charm.
Yeah.
It has its place in the world. That art style. Okay. But
As a movie, at one point we paused it and we were like, "Is this almost over?"
We had a half an hour left, and we all kind of went, "Oh, Jesus!"
I'm gonna finish the rest of this joint. It didn't help.
Yeah.
It just didn't help.
We finished your joint. We poured drinks, and we came back for the last.
So you
half
think
hour.
the art style is good? That's
I
kind
thought
of what
the
you
art style.
appreciated the
I
most
can
about it.
appreciate the art style as an artist.
Yeah.
As far as story, oh fuck, it was a mess. It was a fucking mess. I mean, it was two guys that were pining for a girl that was a real bitch.
She's like, she's farting. She's
farting. She's bitching. She's moaning. She's complaining. She's just not a nice girl.
Yeah, it was so interesting.
It was not interesting. She had no personality.
It was interesting that they were so into her, and she like didn't give a shit about any of them.
She was. She admired the ring that the devil gave her.
The $7.99.
And it depleted in price every time she looked at it, and that popped up on the screen.
Nobody was buying it.
Nobody was buying it.
The QVC cutaways were pretty funny.
They were funny.
Yeah.
But they did a lot of throw-in humor like that throughout the film.
That's probably the second thing I would say. Like that's where I'm like, Rob Zombie didn't write this because there were certain jokes.
That kind of humor
wittiness.
I can't see him doing because I just don't see him being witty. Not like that. This didn't have that kind of writing. I mean, there were certain aspects visually.
Yeah.
Visual aspects.
Well, at the same time, it's also a cartoon, so you're kind of limited in audibles.
Yeah.
You know, there's only so much audible that you can just throw on set and sit. Like in a movie, you can just say something. It's like, holy shit. You would have never thought 10 minutes from now or 10 minutes ago, that actor would have never thought of that line. But at this moment, it came to them.
Right.
And you caught it on camera. So that's something you really don't,
Which
really
is
can't
difficult.
get in a cartoon as easily.
That is difficult.
Yeah.
Because it has to be written.
Yeah, and a lot of the time when they do especially when they do the voiceovers, when they do their voice recordings, a lot of the time they're not with each other. There's a lot of times where an actor is just by themselves recording what's already
Which
been
may
recorded.
have been why the acting or story was so choppy with this.
Yeah.
Because the different actors, because of the messy production that Manny was talking about, because different actors weren't in the same room.
Took them 3 years.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. I mean, I understand that it was a mess with Aladdin because Robin Williams goes off script.
Yeah,
so much.
He literally went into production of Halloween in the Middle, and he told everybody, "This has got to stop for right now." He said to the team, "I physically cannot do 2 projects at once."
Yeah,
it's like I just can't do it. So
that makes sense.
They had to wait,
especially an animated project like this. That probably is like.
He's like, I can't do it.
Well, that's the thing, and you shouldn't have done it if you couldn't commit to it completely.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he had committed. Halloween fell in his. They brought Halloween to him, and he felt it was one of those opportunities he couldn't turn down.
Well, that's
so
true.
It's like, this is more important. I need to go make Halloween. They're not going to wait 2 years for me to finish my cartoon. They're gonna go get somebody else.
Well, I mean,
for
in
Halloween.
that sense,
we got John
move.
Carpenter to agree to a Halloween. I got to do it now, or somebody else is going to do it.
Now for you, Manny. I know you fucking hated this movie.
I didn't hate it. He likes to say he hated this movie.
All right, you weren't a huge fan of it.
I wasn't a fan of it.
But if there was something about it you say you enjoyed, what would it be?
Susie X.
Oh wow! All right.
I liked her. Okay, I
Sherry Moon.
Sherry
Most
Moon,
people hate her and everything he fucking does.
I think sometimes she can be really good and sometimes she can be really really bad. So take it or leave it. But I'm not a superhero person. I don't like superhero movies. It's not my thing. But I do like female superheroes.
That I understand.
I generally like that. Like, I like the Wonder Woman movies. I love the Birds of Prey movie. Was amazing. Absolutely love that. I think Margot Robbie is incredible. She is the best Harley Quinn, period.
Yeah.
Very close second Harley Quinn is what's her name in the cartoon?
Well, she's the first Harley Quinn.
No. What?
I have no idea.
No. The new cartoon.
I don't know anything about
HBO,
Harley
the
Quinn.
one on DC.
Oh yeah.
What's her name from Big Bang Theory?
Big Bang Theory.
I don't know.
Kaylee Cuoco.
Right.
I think she's great as the voice too. Yeah, I like female superheroes, and that's what she kind of was in this.
Oh, she was a superhero.
She had that stripperella feel to it.
Yeah.
The character was very stripperella. It was very barbed wire.
Right.
I felt like she was Pamela Anderson.
She kind of looks like Pamela.
Yeah, well,
She does.
I mean,
They drew her like that. They totally drew her that way. She was the Pamela Anderson superhero, which, as bad as those were when they came out, they were still fun. It was fun. They were silly. It's like, okay, you can enjoy it. You can sit and just watch the dumbness of it and just kind of laugh along
Well, that's
with
the
it.
way Stripperella was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Susie X was. She was really kind of dumb and doing silly things and being a little. She was a little Stripperella, a little Harley Quinn, a little Sherry Moon. She was a little
let's
bit
be
of
honest.
Yeah.
The character was written
I
for
thought
Sherry Moon.
Yes, it was.
Obviously.
And she is clearly, her and El Superbeasto are the only true, real consistent. You follow them through the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. They're the main characters, like I said before. They're the most consistent voice actors.
But you also have the devil.
Well, Paul Giamatti.
You have Paul Giamatti, who's great as well.
Dr. Satan, not the devil.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So you have Dr. Satan. You
Right.
have Dr. Satan and Velvet Von Black.
And the gorilla.
Who were both, but
I don't even know who the voice of the gorilla
I have
was.
no idea.
Yeah, you got to check it out.
Look that
But
up.
even Paul Giamatti, who is one of the greatest actors alive today.
Arguably,
Period.
yes. Arguably,
He is
yes.
Paul
easily.
Giamatti's the man. Yeah.
He is one of the greatest actors on the face of the planet at the moment. I'm sorry, I don't care.
He's got range. He's
Yes,
got range.
He is incredible. He makes anything good. But his character didn't have much. There wasn't much to it. He was a main character.
This is what you call
was,
phoning it in. That's what it kind of came off.
I think it was. I think it was in the writing.
You think
that's
he
what I'm
tried?
saying? I don't think
okay.
they gave him much in the first place. I think he made it better than it already was, is what I'm saying.
Just
Right.
him being Paul
Yeah,
Giamatti
I
what
think-
made it better.
I think, like you said before, Dr. Satan's thing is like, okay, well, he's kind of they're all in love with this girl who's really just kind of shitty through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, why do
Basically.
you?
I thought Rosario Dawson was good as Velvet
she
Von
did
Black.
the voice
you know?
work great.
She was
Yeah.
really good. She was doing her best Pam Grier impression.
Raping my ass over your hairy ass fucking shoulders like I was a mink ass stole and shit.
Mink stole? More like a stanky mole.
Motherfucker, if you want to scratch this sniff, you better watch your ass mouth.
I don't know. She
Pam
even
Grier.
at one point
She's doing Pam Grier.
she
She's
literally
doing
has a
70s
line-
blaxploitation performance.
Yes.
there's
There
a
you
joke where she
That's-
says, "Once you go black," as in her last name,
Yeah,
you
once
never
you go black,
back.
never go back. You know,
As
Von
in
Black.
Von Black. Yeah, it's a weird,
It's
She has to
weird.
say it.
weird
Yes.
thing.
It's a weird joke.
I thought she was good though. I thought the voice.
She was pretty good.
Oh, she was.
Yeah,
She was very clever with the performance.
But yeah, so Susie X was probably my favorite part of it.
That was basically it.
That was
Susie
it.
X was your best.
Susie
you
X,
actually liked Sherry
I
Moon.
thought she was actually really funny.
and her voice acting.
She wasn't
I thought
really
was
funny.
good.
She was good. She did a good job. The
Yeah, I
character
didn't think
fit
she was
her.
funny.
It fit her character. I liked what they did with the character
Yeah.
too.
Right.
You know, by the end of the movie, I'm like, I'm waiting for going for this girl. Like, yeah, fucking go for
With
it.
her boobs
I'm
out.
rooting for her. Excuse me,
During
that's the word.
the cat fight.
Yeah, I'm
Between
rooting for her
Susie
by the
X
end.
and
Right.
Susie X and Velvet Von Black.
yeah.
Because on top of
Velvet
that,
Von-
everybody else is all the other guys are just dumb idiots that are just after this hot girl. and
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly.
Very
They're just
misogynistic.
And here
dumb
we
guys.
we're ending it with the cat fight.
Yeah.
That's how the movie ends. A cat fight between
Yeah.
Susie X and
And
Velvet Von Black.
they're El Superbeasto goes, "I saved the world again."
As
The fuck?
Yeah.
his sister's really the one that
Yeah.
defeated everybody. Well, he did, I guess, punch him and kick him.
Well,
into the-
let's
into-
clarify because the deal was that the devil,
Yes,
or
Dr. Satan.
Dr. Satan,
Dr. Satan!
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
kidnapped Susie X,
Yeah.
Susie X.
because he was crushing on her back in high
Yes,
school.
yes.
And
She shot him up, and then the robot helped her, and all that stuff.
right,
It's-
and
Oh, he's a writer on this too, by the way.
Oh, is he?
Dr. Satan! What's his name?
Is he?
Yes, he's a writer too.
I forget
he
that
worked,
guy's
He
name.
worked on this as well.
The talk show guy, Walking
what's
Dead
his-
talk
Chris
show.
Hardwick.
Was he?
Chris Hardwick worked on
Oh,
this
I
as
had
well.
no idea.
Yeah. I don't know if he was right. He worked on this.
Oh,
with
did
him.
he?
Yes,
I had
yes,
no
He
idea.
was worked on development.
I
and
didn't see
everything.
that anywhere.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick.
There's a couple things I wrote down in my notes that I thought just stood out to me that I thought were really funny. One of my favorite things, and
Right.
this is fucking stupid, and this is like dumb. Like if I smoked a doobie and watched this, was
I
there's
did smoke a doobie and watch this. What the fuck did you see that was so fucking funny?
Dude, so there's a shot, right? There's a shot when they're going to Dr. Satan's lair, right? And there's like a graveyard outside, and randomly there's just two ghosts having sex.
Yes, I
Yes,
guess.
there is.
Like doggy style. Like
Yeah,
the guy's
yeah.
just, and it's just like the camera's panning in this world and panning over to Dr. Satan's lair, his castle or whatever, and there's just two ghosts banging for no reason.
That was clever.
Also, while Superbeasto is down in, like the dungeon lair, the whole like why,
And he gets interrupted.
and he gets interrupted, and they have to like stop the shot. You see the slate come in, and it's like a whole breaking the fourth wall. I guess it's obviously a
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
deal. That was pretty funny. The guy shitting rats, his like uncle or whatever,
That was gross. That was just
kind of weird.
I didn't need that.
The entire carry at the end during Dr. Satan and Velvet Von Black's wedding,
Yeah.
they're referenced. It's literally ripping off Carrie, and the song is called "Why Are You Like Ripping Off?" You were ripping off Carrie.
Yeah.
And then the cat fight. Also, the Eat Me brass knuckles that El Superbeasto wears early. He beats the shit out of a werewolf.
Because they're made of silver.
And they're made of silver, and they read "Eat Me," and someone says, "Oh, he won't die because silver is the only thing that could kill them." And the brass knuckles are made of silver.
Yeah, and
so I thought that
meantime,
was funny.
yeah, his brains are all over the floor.
Yes, poor guy.
Poor guy.
So I looked it up.
Poor werewolf.
I looked it up.
Yes.
The band Hard Fim. They do the music.
Okay.
It's Chris Hardwick's band.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I knew he was involved in it somehow.
There you
it's
go.
Chris Hardwick's band that does all the music.
Interesting.
That does the band music that plays.
And they're basically narrating the
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's it. They're
movie.
just singing the words of what's going on.
Yeah.
On the
So that's
screen.
why he's technically kind of one of the writers, because
It's all like, there's tits and ass.
Yeah.
And it's like
why are you ripping off Carrie?
That's basically it. It's like they're narrating every single, which is
It's
funny.
It's like Dead and Breakfast.
Yes.
Right. It's clever.
It's narration in song. Yes.
It's one of those situations.
Dead and Breakfast is fucking great, by the way.
It is. It is. I haven't watched that in years. Maybe we'll cover that in the future.
It's over there somewhere.
Yeah. But there's a bunch. There's a bunch of different kind of things that pop up that I got a chuckle out of. I was never. Again, honestly, the elevator gag, which we talked about, and the ghost having sex randomly for no reason. And that's like a blink and you'll miss
The
it
thing
thing.
is I've seen it done better in different areas. Like there's a bit in Doom Patrol. It's a television show
Yeah, I've
on
never
HBO
seen it.
where in the house that they live in, there are ghosts
Fucking-
that live in there,
and they
and
fuck.
they're having sex.
Amazing.
And
You just hear them in the other rooms, and they're like, "All
oh
right,
my
already!"
God, oh my God! And then they get the ecto glue on them.
Oh, God. The ecto glue.
Ecto glue, yep.
Oh God. Do you guys have any?
He slimed me.
Oh God. That's the type of slime you don't want. Are there any closing thoughts on the haunted world of El Superbeasto Manny? Closing thoughts. I want to say this. I don't think any of us have seen this since it came out. So it was like basically a first time watch for us.
Basically, yeah.
So closing thoughts.
I can give a little bit of a defense of the movie, even though I didn't enjoy it that much.
Okay.
Rob Zombie. I'm just gonna sound like a super fan, but I'm really not. I love
he's a
Rob
super
Zombie.
fan.
I do love his music, and I've always, but I'm not like crazy. Like, oh my God, I have to see this Rob Zombie. Man.
But you'll defend him.
Yes.
You respect him as an artist.
Yes, I do.
As a fellow artist yourself.
Number one, Rob Zombie makes what he wants to make.
Right.
Like Danzig.
I said it earlier.
Like
I respect what he does.
Danzig's movie. I'm sorry, Veronica was garbage. But
I couldn't
he
get through
doesn't
it.
give a shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He's happy with the movie he made, and me as a filmmer, I
You
respect
respect
that.
that, right.
That he doesn't care what anybody says. He doesn't care if you think it sucks. He doesn't care if it's bad. He has done Q&As, and at the end of the film, he has said, "This is the movie I wanted to make. Every single frame is exactly the way I wanted it to be." And you know what? Fucking awesome then. Good
More
for you.
power to you.
Good for you,
Yeah.
And Rob Zombie is one of those as well. He makes the movie he wants to make, and he doesn't care what people think about him. Years ago, I'm in the 90s or so. I think it was also again in 2002, I think. So he did the MTV Cribs. Okay. And I
vaguely remember that.
I saw his movie collection, and he just buys horror movies.
I think I remember that
He doesn't care if
episode.
he's seen it or not. He sees a horror movie on a shelf, he's compelled to buy it, so he just buys it. Yes, and I've always and I always wanted that. That was the first time I'd ever seen a room of movies and I
physical
said,
media.
Yes, and I said, "Oh my
to
God,
the max.
that is what I want." Like that just looked so appealing to me. And
You
clearly-
admired
Yes,
certain things
yes.
Rob Zombie did.
Yeah.
As far as his music is concerned, he's always he hated the Nirvana and the Soundgardens, and he hated that 90s music not because he didn't like the music, but because he said, oh shit, I forget what the band was in the 70s, one of his favorite bands, I forget what it was, but he said that people listen to music, they want to feel good. Nobody wants to hear you sing the stuff you wrote in your diary when you were 15 years old. He's like, music is about having fun. And when you listen to his music and you listen to his lyrics, they're about nothing.
They really
Static
are.
X, they're about nothing. Static X does not write about anything. He used to write lyrics. Wayne Static used to write lyrics to fit the sound of the music. If you listen to it,
Rob Zombie definitely does
he
that.
doesn't.
and
he
that's
doesn't.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
He writes lyrics to fit the sound of the music because he feels it's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, and I think that's what his movies are. He's trying to get a feeling across. He's trying to get an aesthetic across. Like, this is the type of movie he wants to make. So he's not so worried about being heavy in plot and heavy in character development. He wants to make a movie that looks a certain way, sounds a certain way, is paced a certain way, and gives you a certain feeling when you're done watching it. Right. He doesn't care if you walk away feeling like I learned something. He doesn't want to make a Kurosawa film. He's not making David Lynch. He's not doing something that's going to make...
He's as far from that as it
he's
gets.
He's never going to make fucking Midsummer. He's not making a film.
No.
He's not doing possession. He's not making a movie that's going to.
Love how Manny's just grabbing movies to show an example.
Yeah, that's what I do. He's not making a film that's going to make you question the nature of reality when it's over.
No, of course not. I get that.
And that's why that's the defense I have. Whether I like it or not doesn't matter. He's making what he wants to make because that's what he wanted to make.
Right.
Of course.
And that's it. So his movies, take them for what they are, and if you don't like what it is, then that's it.
Don't watch them.
That's it. Don't watch it. He doesn't give a shit whether you enjoy it or not because it's what he wanted to make at that time.
And that's what you feel about.
That's how
you feel about El
yes,
Superbeasto.
I feel he's happy with this. This is what he wanted, and he did it.
All right, cool.
That's it.
Yeah.
Eric, closing thoughts on the haunted world of El Superbeasto.
El Superbeasto, I mean, it's part of Rob Zombie's catalog of films. I've been a fan of Rob Zombie. Again, you can see that all of his passions in this film.
Of course.
All right.
The dude loves horror movies, horror movies.
It's
you
all
see
there.
it, yeah.
Exactly. And I can appreciate the art style and everything like that. It wasn't Cool World. It wasn't heavy metal. It wasn't any of the greats.
Are you happy you rewatched it after years?
I rewatched it. That's what I could see. I rewatched it.
I would not call this a movie that's rewatchable frequent. Like I don't know anyone that would want to watch this about 3 or 4 times in a row. It's not a replay movie.
Lynn did. When this came out, she watched it.
She enjoyed it.
She watched it a lot. She thought it was fun and stupid, bad, but she liked it.
So my final thoughts with the haunted world of El Superbeasto. The one thing I took away from this movie, it made me want to read this comic.
Well, first off, the artwork is great.
I said that earlier.
Yeah, same thing. Like so I've owned this. I don't even know how I got this. I think someone gave this to me. I've skimmed through it, never actually read it, and I think I might have read some of the stories. And to my knowledge, every issue is a different. It's kind of anthology style, not different characters, but like a different kind of mission.
It reminiscent of like an anthology, Tales from the Crypt or EC type.
Where it's like the same characters, but in different scenarios, different villains. Kind of like a superhero, like a serial. I guess serial maybe is a better word.
That's what I mean. It's told in chapters.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and from what I remember from when I skimmed through it, the film and the comic are very different. They're the same in nudity, violence, and all that stuff, but kind of, I guess the overall kind of, what's the word? Not pacing, because this was very fast paced, but kind of the aesthetic is a little different. I feel like this is silly, but took itself a little more serious, and the movie is a little sillier.
Well, the artwork from the comic is very much comic book artwork. I mean, it's definitely not animation.
You could see where the inspiration came from.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's kind of when I was watching it with you guys, I was like, I gotta fucking read this comic now. Like I've got to read it and really maybe kind of compare the two.
Which issue was the story of the movie?
Which one was this? I could see it maybe like bits and pieces were taken from different stories. Because even when you were skimming through this, and I was too, there was like references to Clockwork Orange, and there was none of that in this.
No.
And this had a Taxi Driver reference, which I believe is in the comic. I believe. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I will say the source material, it seemed for the most part kind of it represented it pretty well. And like Manny said, I think if you're a Rob Zombie fan, you're gonna love this movie. This movie never gets brought up. No one ever talks about it when they talk about Rob Zombie's movies. And I think there's a reason for that.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well,
kind of bad. It's well made, but bad.
And I think that's why people kind of focus on his good stuff and kind of forget about the bad stuff. And this is definitely unforgettable in not an underrated way. It's not like, man, the haunted world of El Superbeasto is underrated. It's not. It's just not good. And it's not rewatchable, like I said. So to me, it's like if you've never seen it and you're a Rob Zombie fan, you love The Devil's Rejects, I think House of a Thousand Corpses, this is almost that animated. It's like outrageous characters and a lot of profanity.
It's a Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah,
it's a Rob Zombie.
Yeah, it's a Rob Zombie movie in the animated kind of sense, and I feel like he was able to kind of represent himself, like we've been saying this entire episode of the podcast, in animated form. And I think the writing is, and it's the one thing I took away from this movie. Rob Zombie should have someone help him write his scripts, because the screenplay to this, or whoever was involved creatively, definitely helped it flow better. It's short, which is good. An hour and 17 minutes. Yeah. It flowed a lot better. It's a quick watch, sort of. It did drag it. We were like, God damn, is this almost over? But I feel like it helped. And it's like, you know what, Rob Zombie, maybe you should have people help you. Maybe your screenplays will be better. They'll just have a co-writer. And in this one, Tom Papa helping him write the screenplay, and the apparent 8 other ghostwriters, or that I didn't even know, because they're not credited in the opening credits of this movie.
They're in the end credits.
They're at the end credits, though, hidden in very small font.
Additional writers,
helped. And I think that's the one thing. Anytime I watch a Rob Zombie, I was like, someone needs to help him write this. It's just, it doesn't work. Sometimes a co-writer helps. And I think this is an instance, even though it's a cartoon, or an animated film, I should say, that worked. Maybe he wanted to make this a series. I think this would have worked as a series. Like,
it probably would have worked better.
It almost feels like a pilot for a series.
Well, I felt like, do you know Star Wars, the Clone Wars?
I do not. I know what it is.
The Clone War cartoon animated was a film that was released in theaters. Didn't work. I fell asleep.
Gotcha.
Okay, but as an episodic show, it worked really well. 20 minutes, 22 minutes.
And that's the straw. Like, this would work better.
I think this would have worked better as an episodic type show. 10 episodes, like a Rick and Morty type thing. You know,
quick watches, 15 minutes. Yeah,
a couple of jokes here, a couple of jokes there. Oh yeah, ha ha ha, and then it's done.
This is an hour and 15 minutes of
and
that.
This is an hour 15.
Yeah.
It should have been like more like a comic where they have chapters.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, they could have split up an episode.
That's why I want to revisit the comic itself.
They could split up an episode of El Superbeasto, an episode of Susie X, episode of and then, you know,
bounce around and forth.
And then just have an episode dedicated to the devil, you know, or Dr. Satan.
I could see that, and I think that probably would have helped it. I think if this was maybe a pilot episode, I think no one cared about this.
It seems like this is separated like that. Look,
it's all chapters.
This is El Superbeasto. This is Susie X's. This is Simon Deadmarsh,
who is not even in this movie.
Ghoularama, Voodoo Heartbeat.
It's interesting.
It looks, and I think those are just sections. But yeah, it looks like this is separated by character. Like, this is El Superbeasto.
Yeah,
story.
Even El Superbeasto origin. So it's an amalgamation of this comic, and that's the one thing I have a feeling. That
it would work good as a series because that's how this was.
And I could see Rob Zombie having a series. Like, I could see him having a series.
Nobody wants to give him money anymore.
Yes, so that's it. No, Rob Zombie's not getting any money anymore. I would recommend this if you've never seen this and you're a Rob Zombie fan. Like, if you're a Rob Zombie fan, not if you're
No, that wasn't why I was making that face. It was.
How about this? If you're a Rob Zombie fan, and if this is on Tubi,
and it's free.
It's free. Give it a watch. It's an easy hour.
It's a Tubi watch.
It's an hour and 17 minutes out of your life.
I agree.
If you haven't seen it and you're a Rob Zombie fan. If you're not a Rob Zombie fan, if you're not a horror movie fan,
you're not
gonna get the joke.
Yeah, man, I agree with that. It's tricky because I feel like if you're a Rob Zombie fan, you're probably gonna fucking love this movie. That's the thing. It's like, and I feel like Rob Zombie has his really hard.
As I sit here and say I didn't enjoy it much, and he's painting me as the Rob Zombie super fan.
No, you're not the Rob Zombie. I'm doing that playfully, but like there are people that love everything he does, and I feel like those people, that's what this is for. You know, otherwise. Most people are going to fucking hate this movie. And I don't think the three of us are big fans.
Most people did hate it.
Yeah.
Most people thought it was really
That's why we never got El Superbeasto, the Haunted World of El Superbeasto Part 2. So.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it would have been a nice, like, it could have been a series.
Yeah.
Or a short-lived series. I mean, it could have been a series like
in 20-minute bursts, this could be
watchable.
When you're writing for an ending in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
this
like Rick and Morty, like you said,
exactly, just like that, exactly.
Yeah.
You're writing for an ending within the next 20 minutes. Things come fast and end quickly.
And this type of humor overstays its welcome. Yeah. That's kind of the main issue, and that's like me watching it. That was basically how I felt. I was like, all right, this is kind of dumb. The jokes are funny. Get a little chuckle.
Enough.
Enough. 15 minutes, 10 minutes would have worked.
I mean, we paused halfway through, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. If you've never seen The Haunted World of El Superbeasto and you love Rob Zombie and you love Sherry Moon Zombie and you love that whole fucking universe, check it out. If you hate his movies,
don't bother.
Stay as far away from this movie as you can.
Yeah. Excuse me, bro. Don't you think we should be out kicking some satanic ass right now?
I'm telling you, this plan is foolproof. All I've got to do is pull this rope before they ever get to the I do's. Hey, come on. Have I ever let you down before?
So that was, unfortunately, The Haunted World of El Superbeasto. Eric, thank you for randomly joining us.
Ooh.
I hope you had fun on the Haunted Hangover podcast / Haunted Hall.
Oh, this was a joy.
All right, good. I'm glad I forced you into watching this movie.
I was just randomly here. I'm hoping that you will invite me back.
You will,
and it'll be a better, more interesting, exciting film.
We're gonna cover another Rob Zombie film next time. Sorry, you don't need to be the Rob Zombie guy. You didn't know that? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Well, you know what? The fact that you sat through this piece of shit, I will pick a better movie next time for you to join us on, and we'll do it in person again. Hopefully next time we'll.
I have yet to get that much of an apology from
There you
him,
go.
so
So-
cherish it.
Sorry,
That's
Eric.
20 years now. That is the most of an apology I've ever heard
Oh,
from
you're
him
gonna
on
get
anything.
some. Sorry to make you sit through this, and it's only because it's this movie.
Well, if it was another movie, well, hey, listen,
you're on your fucking
you're
own.
on your own. But this, I just randomly was here.
Thanks for joining us once again. As always, be sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Haunted Hangover. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/Haunted Hangover 31.
And make sure to rate and review us on wherever you're listening to us so that this way people know you like us.
And as always, remember, the best cure for a hangover is
More booze.
In person, we've got the booze. Almost out, though.
I'm out. I definitely need more booze.
This is one of those nights.
Holy crap,
It's one of
I
those
mean-
films. Just one of those films.
Catch you guys later.